CBS 2 News at 10.
Doctors are trusted with people's lives, and people assume that if the doctor has a license, they must be qualified. Well, tonight the CBS 2 investigators tell a frightening story of patients who say they were victims of a dangerous doctor. They say he abused their trust over and over again. Pam Zekman reports that he continues to practice with alarming results.
Patients have gone under his knife and say they were left disfigured.
I looked like a monster.
Or in need of emergency care.
He basically left me to die.
Both women had surgery performed by Dr. Joshua Salvador at his Thoracic and Cardiovascular Institute on the Northwest Side. His office-based surgical suite, pictured on his website, is also where Salvador inserted a pacemaker in Ralph Studzinski.
He made the incision under local anesthesia, but it was not adequate. According to the witnesses, the man was screaming repeatedly in pain.
Studzinski's attorney, who was also a doctor, charged in his lawsuit that Salvador then improperly inserted the pacemaker into the left ventricle of the heart instead of the right, a mistake experts say can cause blood clots and strokes.
Mr. Studzinski suffered multiple strokes, had a cardiac arrest, and eventually led a slow and painful and agonizing death 10 months later.
Salvador's insurance company settled the case for $350,000 without Salvador admitting any guilt.
He died from causes not related to pacemaker. I did what is best for my patient.
On his website, Salvador describes himself as intelligent, attractive, and humble.
That's very humble of you to say you're humble.
Yes, I am humble because I explained to them before the operation everything.
Try telling that to Alicia Leal. She says Salvador did a lid lift without her permission instead of the laser procedure she agreed to remove dark circles under her eyes.
When I woke up, I had blood all over me. And I was upset. I was so upset. I started screaming and I became hysterical.
In her pending lawsuit, Leal charges Salvador negligently removed excessive tissue from both her eyes and failed to properly close the wounds. As a result, she could not close her eyes to sleep without taping them shut.
It's been very painful.
Other doctors performed corrective surgery.
I spoke with one of those doctors, and he said in his 10 years of practice, he has never seen anyone look as bad as Alicia did.
All this is nonsense.
Salvador says to correct her droopy lid, all Leal needed to do was exercises like this and undergo a small corrective surgery.
She says you made her look like a monster.
Of course she would say this to get more money.
Dr. Salvador's alleged medical mishaps have been the subject of more than a dozen malpractice suits. Settlements so far have totaled more than $1.9 million. Rosemary Simone's lawsuit charges Salvador with negligence because while removing fibroid tumors from her uterus, he perforated her bladder. Salvador says he sewed up the hole.
She went home in good condition.
Not so, says Simone's daughter, Michelle.
She had a hospital gown on with a catheter attached that was draining dark red blood, and she was just moaning.
When her condition worsened, he made a house call.
By going to her house, treating her there, not sending her to the hospital, he was attempting to cover up his gross negligence.
Hours later, Simone was rushed to Resurrection Hospital, where doctors said she needed emergency surgery.
I was almost dead. I spent a month in the hospital. I went through dialysis 3 times a week. It was devastating.
Salvador says the hospital doctors overreacted, and Simone would have been just fine if she'd waited 24 hours.
They have to justify their actions. They have to justify their mistakes by throwing it on me.
Simone's attorney settled her lawsuit for $900,000 without Salvador admitting any guilt.
Dr. Salvador is, in my observation and experience and opinion, about as dangerous a doctor, if not the most dangerous doctor, I've seen in 30 years of practice.
What do you say to those who look at all of these cases and say they indicate that you are a dangerous doctor?
No, they're frivolous. Frivolous.
So why is Dr. Salvador still practicing medicine? The Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation is supposed to investigate malpractice cases after they settled, but we found the system is seriously flawed. How? Watch my special report tomorrow night at 10.
Antonio and Diane?
We'll look forward to that. Thank you, Pam.